All right, everybody. Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. And we just had day 3 of on-field work at the NFL Combine. So it makes sense to talk about whatever it is that happened out there and try to figure out who the winners and I guess you could say the losers are of the day. So today was a good day. We had running backs, which is very interesting as a Seahawks fan. We had wide receivers, pretty interesting. I'm not going to act like it's my favorite group, but there could be something in there that we care about. And then we got quarterbacks, which I don't really care about at all, admittedly, but it's still interesting, even though the Seahawks are obviously not really looking to add on to their quarterback room right now, still worth paying attention to. So let's start with the running backs. Let's talk about the guys who I think did well for themselves today, then move on to some guys who maybe didn't do so well, and then we'll move on to receiver, and then we'll do a little quarterback at the end. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. All right, so the first winner of the day at running back has to be Mike Washington Jr. I don't know who else it could be, the Arkansas guy. He's got good size, 6'1", 223 pounds, so he's actually big as far as running backs go. Long arms, so you don't have to worry about him not physically being able to have ball security, because that is one of the big concerns with Mike Washington. He's not a very secure ball carrier. And he combined that with some phenomenal athleticism scores. Ran a 4.33, fastest of any running back this year. 1.5, 110-yard split's really good. 39-inch vertical is also definitely up there. 10-foot 8-inch broad is good too. So phenomenal athlete. He brings everything to the table except for the ability to catch the ball and hold on to the ball, which, in fairness, that's pretty important. But Mike Washington, physical freak, rare specimen. If you can figure out the ball security stuff, you've got a very special player on your hands with Mike Washington. So definitely the biggest winner of the day in my book. I'll throw in Jeremiah Love as well, even though this is kind of a lost cause because he's obviously going to go in the first half of the first round, but good size, 6 feet flat, 212 pounds, 32-inch arms is okay, and he ran a really nice 40, decent 10-yard split, not elite, but workable. 155 is okay. 4.36 40-yard dash, though, is definitely going to get attention. So, yeah, Jeremiah Love going to be gone in those first 15 or 16 picks somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but yeah, he's going early. Demond Claiborne of Wake Forest, a little bit on the smaller side, which isn't terribly surprising. Also, really short arms, so we don't love that. But he had himself a pretty nice 40-yard dash, 4.37, and he was the third most athletic running back at the combine this year, according to the athleticism score on NFL.com. The 10-yard split, not so great, though. The broad jump was okay. So mixed bag here, right? We knew he was going to be smaller, so that's not a big deal. The 40-yard dash is very strong. The 10-yard split, though, makes you wonder a little bit. So I'll call that one mixed. All right, Jam Miller, and this is a guy I forget exists a lot. Excuse me. Cool, now I can't stop sneezing. But yeah, Jam Miller, kind of a shorter, stouter guy, like one of the we get running backs like this every couple years. It feels like the guys who's short but has a really low center of gravity and isn't really giving up anything in the weight department. Really short arms, but ran a nice, okay, at least a decent 40, good 10-yard split, but no explosiveness. And this kind of concerns me because of the type of player that he is. A little bit of a smaller player. Definitely, when I look at Jam Miller, I think, okay, maybe you can get a little bit of the Maurice Jones-Drew stuff going, but vertical jump of 30.5 inches, 9 foot 7 inch broad jump. I don't know about that. So, a little bit disappointed there. Seth McGowan, though, of Kentucky, interesting player here. This is a power back we're talking about here, right? 223 pounds. He's not far off from Zach Charbonnet's size. This is going to be a thumper in the NFL, but he's not fast, right? We know that. We know he doesn't have great straight line speed, and we're okay with that. 1.6 10-yard split. Definitely scraping the bottom here. Let me pause that. Vertical jump and broad jump out the building, though. 42.5 inches, 10 foot 11 inch broad. That's about as good as it gets for a running back. So he may not be fast, but he's very explosive. And I think that did him some favors today. I think that he is going to be a relatively coveted day 3 pick at this point. Also did a 20-yard shuttle, which very few running backs did. So props to him for competing. I do like that. I don't like how many players skip the combine now. We also had Emmett Johnson here. A little bit of a mixed bag here. Smaller guy, especially with the short arms. So doesn't have a ton of size in his favor and not really particularly fast. 4.56, 1.59 10-yard split. The jumps were kind of okay. He did do the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle, so that's nice. But overall, I think this is a little bit of a disappointing result for Emmett Johnson. I think he needed to do a little bit better here to really get attention. He's still a good prospect, of course, but I don't think this did him any favors. And Robert Henry Jr., not a big name to start with, but definitely a smaller guy, barely 30-inch arms. UTSA, I believe, by the way. Same college that Woolen went to, but yeah, not fast. Really poor 10-yard split, 1.62. Vertical jump was okay. Broad jump was okay. The 20-yard shuttle, I guess, was pretty good, but being this small, being sub 200 pounds and running a 1.62 10-yard split, that's concerning. So I'd call him somebody who struggled today and probably hurt his case a little bit. And he's already kind of on the fringe as it is. Okay, now we got wide receiver here. And wide receiver, obviously, a lot of guys to talk about. A lot of guys who I think did well. A lot of guys who maybe didn't do so well. But we got a lot of names to go through here. And I understand that if the Seahawks re-sign Shaheed, which it seems like they're more likely than not to do, they don't need a receiver. But if they don't, you got to think about this group. So Brennan Thompson, on the surface of it, was one of the winners today, but be careful with this one. So he ran a 40. That's the only thing he did, and he ran the fastest 40 of any receiver today, 4.26. But he's tiny, 164 pounds, so this is not far off from like Tank Dell or Tutu Atwell territory. Arms are not even 29.5 inches. And the 1.54 10-yard split is, I mean, I know he's a receiver, so 10-yard split isn't the make or break thing, but you would expect better for a guy running a 4.26. So I don't really know what to make of this guy right now. Davion Thomas of LSU. Yeah, if you take a look at this, like, okay, he's a little bit slower in the 40-yard dash, but he's got a slightly better 10-yard split, and he's way bigger. And his arms are short, but he still has longer arms than Thompson. So just judging based off the combine, which is, of course, obviously a dicey thing to do, but 5'10", 190 pounds, I can work with that. 30.5-inch arms, it's not great, but it's okay. And I think you got to look deeper than just the 40 time is my point. You can find other things going on here, and you'll see that with some of these other guys that we're about to talk about. So, yeah, Xavier Thomas. I thought Deion Burks had a really nice day. He's another smaller guy, 180 pounds, sub 29.5-inch arms, but he ran a really good 40, way better 10-yard split than Thompson. And he also almost jumped 43 inches on his vert and 11 feet on his broad. So he is an extremely quick and extremely explosive athlete. And even though the 40 time is a little bit worse than Thompson's, everything else paints the picture of a guy who's clearly going to be better in the NFL to me. Just based off the combine scores, of course. There's way more you got to get into. But Deion Burks, kind of a forgotten man lately, but after today, I think people are going to be paying a little bit of attention. Jeff Caldwell of Cincinnati, not a big name at all, but I mean, check this out. He's got the size. He's one of the biggest receivers in this class, 6'5", 216 pounds, good arm length, over 32 and a half. And look at how good an athlete this guy is. This guy could be like the next DK Metcalf. This guy could be that kind of receiver. 4.3, 140, 148 10-yard split, which is inhuman. Vert out the building, broad jump 11 feet 2 inches. Guy is an absolute monster. He might be the biggest winner of the day. Like 6'5", doing all that stuff is kind of superhuman. There's a reason why they gave him a 99 athleticism score. Another big winner today for me was Bryce Lance. Very productive in college, but we don't know if his game will translate to the NFL, and we still don't, but he's another athletic freak. He's got the size, 6'3", 204 pounds, decent arm length, and he's running a 4.34 with a sub 1.5 10-yard split. So crazy good athlete. Big vert, big broad. Also did the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Didn't do great at the 3-cone necessarily. 20-yard shuttle was kind of whatever, but what he did at his size is crazy. And Bryce Lance, I think, solidified himself as a good day 3 pick at this point. And for all we know, somebody goes crazy and picks him in day 2. I wouldn't do that, but guy's a freak. Zachariah Branch definitely needed a push in the right direction here because there's some concerning stuff with him on his usage at Georgia. And look, smaller guy, don't get me wrong. I'm a little bit alarmed. Sub 180 pounds, 5'9", short arms. But at the very least, he can move. 4.35, 1.5 10-yard split flat. Vert was good, not great. Broad jump was good, not great. It's enough, though. At the very least, you know he can move. And for Zachariah Branch, that's something that he needed because we'll probably talk about this in the coming weeks, but he's one of those guys that lives off of bubble screens and not too much else. All right, so that is Zachariah Branch. Hendrick Law of Kentucky, not a big name, decent size. He's got plus 31-inch arms, almost 6 feet tall, 203 pounds. It works. And his 40 was okay. His 10-yard split was workable for his size, but the vert and broad paint the picture of a very explosive athlete. And I think that's going to do him some favors here. He may work his way into the territory of being drafted just based off these traits. Skylar Bell of Connecticut, another guy who's currently projected around the second round. Okay size, not great. 192 pounds, you'd like a little bit heavier. Does have big hands, though, worth noting. 6 feet flat. And for a guy of that size, this is pretty darn good. 4'4", 153, 41-inch vert, 11-foot, 1-inch broad. Very explosive. He's not super fast, but he's fast enough for a 6-footer. And vertical jump and broad is, that's definitely turning heads. Ted Hurst, this is a name we've talked about before. I think this guy was at the Senior Bowl. Big guy, 6'4", 206 pounds. Arm length pretty good, 32 and 5/8 works. But he combines that with a good 40, not a stellar 40, but a good 40, an okay 10-yard split. Vertical jump is whatever, but the broad jump, wow, that's got to get your attention. 11-foot, 3-inch broad jump. So doing something very right here for sure. This guy has some explosion in those hips. And combine that with everything else, I think he's moving his way up. Jeremy Bernard of Alabama, also moving his way up here, former Husky, short-lived. 6'1", 206 pounds. Not very long arms, which is not going to make everybody happy. And look, I mean, it's a little bit of a mixed bag here if you look at the scores. Like a 4.48, 1.52 is good at least. The jumps or whatever, the vert is actually pretty bad. But he crushed it at the 3-cone. And I think that's going to get a lot of people's attention. He was by far the best 3-cone guy of any receiver. And I think that's going to get him some attention here because I think that's a drill that people really look at for receivers. And then you've got Vinny Anthony of Wisconsin. A little bit of a smaller guy, 6 feet, 183 pounds. Arms are kind of whatever, not great. But oh, sorry about that. These videos keep auto-playing. I hate it. He had a real nice 3-cone and a pretty nice 20-yard shuttle as well. So even though he's not super fast or explosive, I do think he did himself some favors here because this is a fringe draftable guy anyway on the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. All right, so those are a pretty good assortment of receivers who I think did well or at least okay. Looking at some of the other guys, Malachi Fields is kind of as advertised. He's big, and that's kind of all he is. He's a 6 foot 4.5 receiver, 218 pounds, but he's slow, doesn't accelerate fast. The vert was pretty good. The broad was okay. Three cone, getting a little bit rough here. 20-yard shuttle, whatever. Not terrible, I guess, but he is what he is. And look, he didn't produce in college very much, right? So his path to being a coveted player in this draft for me was the DK Metcalf route, and this is not DK Metcalf here. DK Metcalf could fly. This guy, 4'6", 163. That's a tough sell for me. Chase Roberts, already not a super highly touted player or anything. Kind of in the same boat. He's big. He's got good size, 6'3", 209 pounds, but he can't move. Guy is slow, 4'6", 4'16". That's not getting it done. The vert was okay. The broad was okay, but not a good athlete. So he's another one of these big guys that seems like he may not be able to separate at the next level. Not good. Not what you were hoping for, but not surprising. Carnell Tate, still probably the top receiver in this draft because, again, we've seen him play football, but definitely not the showing you were hoping for if you wanted to see him prove himself as a upper-level athlete. 6'2", 292 pounds, that's pretty good. He's got good size, but could not get past the 4.53. And 1.61 10-yard split's pretty awful for a guy who's probably going to be a top 10 pick. I don't know if this hurts him or not. I would assume that it doesn't because it's Carnell Tate of all people, and he's proven he can play football at a high level, so he'll be fine, but not an athletic phenom the way you might have hoped with a guy of this level of hype. And the final receiver that caught my eye in a somewhat negative way would be Aaron Anderson of LSU. Real small, 5'8". 191 isn't terrible, though, but he is very short. He's got short arms. And the only thing he did were his jumps, and they were abysmal. 30-inch vert, 9 foot 5-inch broad. Yeah, that's not doing it. And the fact that he didn't run the 40 at all is concerning because when you're this small, you need to be able to fly. And this indicates to me that he probably can't. He probably can't move that well, or else he would have showed it off. And Aaron Anderson's not really a highly coveted player in this draft anyway, but there was a route for him to maybe improve that a little bit, but he didn't take it. Okay, we're wrapping things up with quarterback, and I will look at the drills, of course, but the understanding here, number one, I didn't pay a lot of attention to the quarterbacks because I don't care that much. Number two, most of the quarterbacks don't do the drills. Most of the quarterbacks don't even do stuff at the combine because what's the point? For a decent chunk of them, there's not really much you can get out of it. So we did have a few guys who did well. Taylon Green was probably the star of the day. He had the best athleticism score for any quarterback other than Anthony Richardson, I believe, in NFL history. He's big. He's got Anthony Richardson's size. He's got long, long arms, 6'6", but he's running a 4.36 with a 1.55, and he's jumping out the building. This is Anthony Richardson territory. Like, this is the kind of stuff Anthony Richardson did. Obviously, Taylon Green doesn't have the hype, and I understand why. But realistically, like if you're drafting a guy like Anthony Richardson at number 4 overall based on traits, Taylon Green has traits that are similar, so why not? So that was a really good day. Haynes King looks like the next Taysom Hill, decent size, almost 32-inch arms, and he's also a pretty good athlete. I wish he was more explosive. He did not jump very well, but overall, he ran a good 40. 10-yard split was okay. Their 3-cone, good. 20-yard shuttle's good. I mean, he's a good athlete, just not really a quarterback. More on that in a second. And then I guess Cole Payton kind of rounded things out. He's a well-sized North Dakota State quarterback, 6'3", 232, and ran a good 40, okay 10-yard split, 40-inch vertical on a quarterback. Wow. 10 foot 10-inch broad's also really good, so he did well. Excuse me. But obviously, when we talk about quarterbacks, we're not really talking about the drills. We're talking about the actual throwing. And honestly, from what I could tell, nobody did that well. Like, I know Nussmeier threw. I didn't see him look very good. A lot of these guys that threw looked really bad, but it was expected, like Haynes King. Carson Beck threw and did not look good at all. I'm not sure if I noticed any quarterbacks looking all that good today throwing the ball. Again, I wasn't paying super close attention, but the guys who maybe would have thrown well, guys like Mendoza, guys like Simpson, um, there's limited participation because especially if you're, um, I just said his name, the guy who's going to go to Las Vegas. Wow. Mendoza, sorry, my old age is getting to me. There's no point in participating in this stuff when you already know you're going number one overall. So I get it on him, but I didn't see a lot from these quarterbacks. I got to be honest. It doesn't seem like it was a very good day for them. Some of the, like Talon Green did well, but just because he proved he was a great athlete. As far as quarterbacks go, I didn't see a lot of throwing that did much for me. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys thought about today. We got 1 day left. Tomorrow, offensive lineman. And then that'll do it for the combine. And yeah, see you guys soon. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think.